Hi, welcome to episode 15 of the library. My name is Bethany. I'm so excited you're here today. I'm really excited about today's episode because it was requested. I get really excited when I read the comments on my YouTube videos, and so first, thank you. I tried very hard to respond to them, or at least like them, so you know that I did see them. But I really appreciate that. And one of the comments I got, someone said their kid was asking for book recommendations. Now, there's a lot of information that I don't know. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I don't know the age, and I don't even know what they like to read. So we're just going to put a shot in the dark, and I'm going to recommend some books for our kids anywhere between like 12 to 17. And these are books that are on my shelves. These are books that I'm comfortable with my children reading. There are some modern books that are really popular with teenagers, and personally, I just won't let my children read those. Because I just don't think the content is appropriate. But these I feel comfortable with my kids reading, and so this is a good collection of like older books and newer books, and I think that it's important for a kid to be reading not just all new books. I think it's important for them to read old books as well. So some of it's nonfiction, sometimes it's fiction, and I think it's also good for kids to read a combination of both. I will say that I think whenever an adult tells a child, you should read this book, they immediately don't want to read this book. So there's a few books that I have asked my children, like, hey, well, before you graduate from high school, I think it's important to read these books. And I think it's important because it creates good conversation, and it makes them think, and it makes them view the world differently. So, you know, when you're handing a child a book, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to read it or that they're going to like it. And that's important to understand. I'm an avid reader. Not all of my children are avid readers. I hand them a book, and if they choose to open it, that's one thing. And if they end up enjoying it, that's a completely different thing. But the opportunity is that they have the book in hand, right? Okay, so the two books that I have asked my children to read before they graduate from high school, one is The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. You know that I'm a Christian, and this has very strong Christian elements to the book, and the story of Corrie's life is during this book. This took place during World War II. But Corrie and her family show a lot of grit and resiliency and a lot of courage. And I think that those are things that we want to model for our children, right? Hold on. I sneezed, and I am not a gracious sneezer, and I did not want you to see that. Okay, so Corrie ten Boom is one. And then I love C.S. Lewis. You know that I love C.S. Lewis, so I think it goes without saying that a child hopefully has read the Chronicles of Narnia, hopefully has enjoyed The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. If they have not, please get them that series. Please introduce your children to the Chronicles of Narnia. It's a gift. It truly is a gift. But in addition, and I mention this book a lot because it's one of my favorites, but I also ask my children, again, for some reason I don't have the individual copy of the Screwtape Letters, which is really a shame. But the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis is another book that I strongly encourage my children to read. And not just from a faith-based perspective, but because I think the story is very incredible. And it's one of those books that I don't want them to get into adulthood and be like, I've never read that book. No, I want them to read it. And a popular book that's recommended in schools a lot, there's several popular books, and I'm really glad, is A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park. This is based on a true story. It's incredible. It's not a very thick book, so it's a book that, like, if you have a child who's very intimidated by large books, this is a great book. And some children don't like, and when I say children, I mean like teenagers. Some teenagers or children, they don't like fiction books, and I admire that and appreciate that. So this is a good nonfiction book. I think regardless of their ages, Um, this Wonder by RJ Palacio. I'm probably saying her last name wrong. This is a phenomenal book. It was made into a movie. The movie's fantastic. This book, though, is amazing. There's other books followed in the Wonder series, but oh, gosh, this book, it grips you. It's so good. And I think that it's appropriate for children, really children probably ages like 10 to 17. They can read this book. They can learn so much from this book. I think that classics are always the way to go. I mean, like, and I understand not everyone's going to love classics as much as I love classics, but I think that it's important, and it's important to read these older books, and there's value there that cannot be, you can't, there's a value to older literature. So, I'm going to recommend like Alice in Wonderland. Wicked is a great movie and Broadway musical, and there is a book. The book is not appropriate. It was never intended to read. It's an adult book. So get your child The Wizard of Oz. Show them the story before Wicked. And then The Hobbit. The thing about The Hobbit is that when it was first marketed, it was actually the marketing age group was 10 to 12. And in our modern world, they don't introduce The Hobbit till high school. You can introduce The Hobbit to a much younger audience, and the younger audience and the older audience will find it just as captivating. And that's important. Okay. Also, when we're talking about older books, obviously Little Women. I'm not showing all these books because, well, my library is still in disarray and I can't find of them, but Anne of Green Gables, of course. And then C.S. Lewis, he has a space trilogy book series, which is the target audience is older than like Chronicles of Narnia was written for children. Still a great read for any age group, but it's the space trilogy. And this is an older series copy, but it's still good. It's still good. Okay, let's head towards some more, I got books everywhere. Okay. When I was a kid, I was handed this book, Walk Two Moons. And it was a phenomenal book in my life. And I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to read it. The Serafina series by Robert Beatty is a newer series. It's it takes place in the Biltmore Estate, which is in North Carolina. And it's really a fun series. It's a little creepy, but it's good. The American Royals series by Catherine McGee is such a fun series to read. It basically is the idea of what do you do if America had kings and queens and there was a royal family, and it's a modern day, it takes place in modern day, but with royalty who are Americans. It's really fun. Kara Case, she wrote The Selection. This is 1,000 Heartbeats. I really like all of her books. I think they're really fun. The Selection series is, it's so good. It's so good. So if your child is looking for like modern literature, if your child is a girl particularly, and she's like, I want to read romance, I want to read fantasy, and you're looking for something that's appropriate, this is good. This is a good option for her. Let's go through some other options that are really good. Okay, first of all, this series, my dog got it. Okay, I really like this. First of all, it's a sequel, but if you hold the two books up together, creates the face. I love that. This is the Namesake and Fable books by Adrienne Young. It's about pirates. But the funny thing about this book is that the word pirate is never used, which is very creative because you realize throughout the entire book that she's describing the life of pirates, and the word pirates is never used. I think this is older, so I would recommend it for like an older teen. My daughter's 12, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for her to read that. So just keep that in mind. The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. It's a good option. The Inheritance Games. I think this is becoming a movie. By Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This series, I think it has 5 or 6 books in the series. There's a puzzle inside of it. There's a mystery inside it. And just when you think you've solved it, another part of the puzzle happens. And it's very fast-paced, very well written. It's really fun to read. So it says there's secret passages, elaborate riddles, and billions at stake. And it is such a good book. Surprisingly, this is an old throwback, and it's really interesting, but Twilight is actually a good series to read. And the reason I'm recommending that is because sometimes your kids want to read fantasy books. They've read Harry Potter. They're looking for the next thing to read. And a really popular series is the Sarah J. Maas books, but Sarah J. Maas was not written for kids. It's not written for young adults. There are very mature graphic scenes in Sarah J. Maas's books that are not for kids. And so if your kid is like, I want fantasy, Twilight's clean. Twilight, it's going to be about vampires and werewolves. We know the story. But it's clean. And I think there's a value to that. Don't be afraid to get your kids don't be afraid to get your kids nonfiction books. I know I mentioned this book yesterday, but I think Make Your Bed, again, it's a really short book. This is not just the book for graduates. This is a book, like if you have a kid who's like, I really just want to read stories of real life, get that. That's really good. John Acuff, How Teens Win. I think he wrote this with his kids. John Acuff writes a lot of books about accomplishing goals and meeting goals and how to achieve like your highest dreams, and How Teens Win is a good option. Another good option, which I just thought of, is by Jesse Itzler. Jesse Itzler is one of my favorite authors. He's an entrepreneur. He does a lot of like athletic like things. He's all big on goal setting. And Jesse Itzler has written several books that I highly recommend. I can't find his books on my shelf right now. I think he has 3 books and I have 2 of them. Anyways, those are really good options as well. So there's some books for the teenager and young adult in your life. Happy reading.